UFC 301, main by Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erceg, co-main by Jonathan Martinez versus José Aldo. I'm gonna be making a full card prediction about this, starting off with the prelims. Alexandre Costa versus Kevin Brazos. I'm going. What am I going again? Alexander Costa by second round KO. I think Alexander Costa is just that slightly better than Kevin Brazos. I think that Alexander Costa is going to be coming in here with strong, overhands and hooks, and I don't think that Kevin Brazos is going to be able to handle it. I think that he's going to be able to put up a valiant defense for the first round or two, but afterwards, I really see Alexander Costa, really just getting them, catching them on his side, his shots, and really making him feel his power. Really athletic dude. I really do think that Alexander Costa is too much for our boy Kevin. With that being said, moving on the card, Ismail Bonfirm versus Vince Pictel. I'm gonna say this how it is. This is a fucking gimme fight for Ismail Bonfirm. Straight up gimme fight. Vixel Ponhel, he is fucking 41. 41. His last fight was 2 years ago, which he lost. I get that that Ismail Bonfirm is coming off of a loss, but this is fucking crazy. This is a straight up give me fight. I don't get it, man. You know, Ismail Bonfirm, he kind of lost a little bit of his hype after he got the shit beat out of him by Benet Saint Denis. But looking back, Benet Saint Denis has kind of done well and is now higher in the rankings. I don't think Ismail Bonfirm has lost any of his luster. I still think he's a good striker. I still think he's a good grappler. But this type of fights, like this is ridiculous. We're talking about a 40-year-old versus a 28-year-old whose last fight was 2 years ago. You know, there's a reason why Ismail Bonfirm's a negative 450 favorite. Like this fight, I don't see this fight going any other way than Ismail Bonfirm KOing this guy in the first round. Like 2 years off, coming back at 40 versus a guy who just lost to Benet Saint Denis, who is now in the rankings. Like this fight's fucking ridiculous. Moving on to the card, Mauricio Rufy versus James Malarkey. Let's pour one out for our boy James Malarkey, bro. Let's just say how it is. James Malarkey, James Malarkey, his time has come, bro. I know I might be a little hyperbolic for a guy who's just coming into the UFC as Marcos Rufi, but I think Marcos Rufi, he's just that step above than James Malarkey. I think James Malarkey, he's shown us that he has his moments. He has some questionable. He's kind of chinny. I'm gonna say it how it is. He's kind of chinny. We've seen him make questionable decisions with in fights that make him lose them or give up positions that he should have kept. And I think a guy like Mauricio Rufy, which if you haven't watch his regional fights. Are really good. Um, Rufy's only lost to one guy, and that guy has gone on to go like 13 and 0 or something, and he's good. Like I saw the guy he lost to, and the way he lost, and he's a good fighter, man. All the fighters he's fought, these are like dangerous opponents. These are not one and one guys. He's fought some who's who of the Brazilian regional scene. That being said, there is some tendencies of our boy Rufy, very unfortunate last name, that I do not like. First off, Rufy, he likes to keep his hands low. He's a type of fighter who works best when he's reacting to other fighters. He is a counterpuncher, but that doesn't mean he can't push the pace. He very well can push the pace. He has a hell of a right hand. He almost fights in the same way of Connor, where he keeps his hands almost to his pecs, at the level of his pecs, and waits for opponents to come into him to fire off that fucking cannon of an arm. And I do think it will work against James Malarkey. I think James Malarkey is going to come out here. He's going to try to keep a steady pace throughout this fight, like not really giving up too much ground. Trying to keep the pressure on Mauricio. And I don't think that's going to be work well for him. I think Mauricio's grappling, which he's a very creative grappler. You give this guy a second. If you give this guy a second, he will take your back and lock in those hooks and choke you out in a very dangerous striking. Don't get me wrong. We've seen Mauricio Rufy get chinned. We've seen him have his hands low. And I'm gonna be honest. In his last couple regional fights, he all got dropped in them. Like you, and a guy like James Malarkey, he doesn't lack power. It's just I don't think Rufy is gonna get chinned by James Malarkey. If anybody's gonna get chinned or anybody's gonna get submitted in this fight, it's gonna be James Malarkey, man. Mauricio Rufy has the power advantage, he has the grappling advantage, and I think he has the striking advantage, man. I say James Malarkey gets finished by Mauricio Rufy by third round submission. Joaquim Silva versus Jakara Close. I think Jakara Close bullies Joaquim Silva. Not saying Joaquim Silva is a bad fighter. I just think Jakara Close is a very physical, powerful fighter. I think the power difference in this fight is going to be it's going to be noticeable. It's going to be very noticeable, and I think it's going to change the course of this fight. I think Joaquim Silva is going to try to strike with Jacare Close, and I think Jacare Close is just going to be able to land those like 1-2s and those quick strikes, and I really do think that's going to be way too much for Joaquim Silva. I think he's just going to break him down, and Joaquim Silva is going to try to shell up and avoid getting TKO'd against the fence, but I really do think Jacare's close power is too much for Joaquim Silva to handle. I think he's going to punch him, maybe rock him on the feet, and get him to shell up and just Dracula Close is gonna attack the body, the body, and then go for the head and get the finish. I think we're gonna see a ref having to pull Dracar Close off a quad off of Silva, pressed against the fence. Moving up in the card, Gene Silver versus William Gomez. I'm going William Gomez by KO. I know a lot of people think William Gomez is a point fighter, which he is. I'm gonna be real with you, he is. But this is a fight I kind of like for well, for Gomez. Gomez is a long, lanky fighter. He has okay power. He likes to keep things at range. He's a good kickboxer. I think when you put him against a guy like Gene Silver, who does his best work when it's like mid to close range. I think when you put him against a guy like Gomez, Gomez is gonna pick him apart. I really do. I think Gene Silva is going to be trying to push the pace. I think Gene Silva is going to try to get into those firefights with William Gomez, and I don't think Gomez is going to let him. For real, I think Gomez is going to keep him at the end of his jab. I think he's going to keep him, just outside of his range. He's going to be constantly throughout this fight having Gene Silva come to him and try to land these big kicks and try to land these jabs and these straights. And I think eventually, later on in the fight, round three, round two, Gene Silva is going to try to come into William Gomez, and William Gomez is going to like be pressed against the fence or something, and Gene Silva is going to be trying to cut him off. And I think William Gomez lines up a perfect head kick. You see this guy fight; he throws head kicks all the time. And these are quick, snappy, powerful head kicks. I think one's going to get through, rock Gene Silva, and I think William Gomez is going to jump on him and try to get that TKO finish. I'm not saying that Gene Silva can't chill him. We've seen that Gene Silva, he's game. He throws with heat, he throws with nasty intentions every time, but I don't think he's going to be able to get that close to William Gomez. Moving on the card, Elvis Brenner versus Maitzebek Orbila. All right, let me start this one off. I've watched all of Maitzebek Orbila's regional fights, and let me tell you something. This guy's fucking good. He does have some nasty tendencies, especially with his grappling. I've seen this guy get almost triangled like 5 fucking times. I'm not joking. Seriously, I'm gonna put some examples on the screen. But that being said, Maitzebek Orbila should be 13-0. The fight he did lose in ACA was against a very good Russian prospect. Dude, seriously, go watch his only loss. That guy has crazy hand speed. Maitzebek only really lost because they judged the guy who had the better hand speed off his strikes, which most of Maitzebek's strikes were landing better on that guy, and that guy's strikes were landing around the guard and not really doing too much damage. If you really account damage for that fight, Maitzebek would win, but that being said, Maitzebek, he has a good frame at welterweight. He has good striking fundamentals. He's powerful. He's good at range. He has good grappling fundamentals. Besides the constantly almost getting fucking triangled, and he does have some pretty good takedowns. Like if you give this guy a shot, he will like duck under your jab and 1-2 and just grab your legs and take you down. But that being said, Elvis Brenner is game, man. He trains at shoot up box. A lot of good guys at shoot up box. He trains with Oliveira. Kind of fights like Oliveira with that heavy Muay Thai style. Like going for the takedowns. Not necessarily the takedowns, more like trips. He goes for trips and clinches up. But I think against a guy like Mitabek, who can fight at range, who can wrestle, who can grapple, I think versus a guy like Elvis, which first off, let me say this: Elvis is not he's not a natural welterweight. I've seen this guy fight at what was it? He fought against Gabriel Santos and he weighed in at 147 pounds. I can't be picking you against a guy like Mitabek. I think Mitabek's too physical. Not too fit. I think he's too physical for a 145er. I'll say that, but I don't think you're gonna be able to get Mitabek or Real. But There's always a chance for Elvis Brenner. He is powerful. He's a very good jiu-jitsu artist. He can most definitely lock in a triangle if Mitabek does some dumb shit and leave one hand on the outside and goes into his guard. But I think that Mitabek's going to be too powerful. I think he's going to be too strong. I really think there's going to be a height advantage. I don't think Elvis Brenner's 5'10". I swear this guy's not 5'10". He has to be like 5'8". But I think we're going to see it in the cage. And I think Mitabek's going to be way too big for this guy. Even though, like, frame wise, I think Mitabek's too big for Elvis. And I think his striking's too good. I think his grappling is it's there, man. Not maybe not the submission ability, but the control is 100% there. I say Mitabek by what third round KO, man. I think he's gonna eventually find him on one of these hooks. Mitabek's kind of he's not incredibly fast, but he's not slow, and I think that's gonna catch Elvis Brenner when he's looking for hooks or anything, man. Moving on, Jack Shore versus Joe Anderson Brito. I like Jack Shore for real. I've watched a couple of his regional scenes. He fought at Cage Warriors. Very really good fighter. Exciting fighter. Go watch his fights, his regional fights. They're good. But that being said, he lacks power. He's kind of basic on the feet, and he's primarily a grappler. But the issue is that Joe Anderson Brito, excuse me, is better almost everywhere. I really feel like Joe Anderson Silva, he has more power. He's a more creative striker, and I think he's a better grappler. He's a super strong person. For straight up, if you watch his previous fights, he ragged those people. If he gets two underhooks, it's over, bro. It's pack it up. Shit's done already, dude. He will fucking toss and throw your ass down. I don't see Jack Shore doing that. Jack Shore seems like the type to have to grind you down against the fence to get a takedown. Joe Anderson Brito can literally throw your ass if he gets you two underhooks. And I think he's going to be way too strong. I think he's going to be too powerful. I think he's going to be putting on a lot of forward pressure. And I don't think Jack Shore is going to be able to perform and beat him off. That sounded. Wait, pause, bro. Moving on to the card before I say something. No, sorry, my inner John Jones came out, bro. Speaking of beating him off, Paul Craig versus KL Brawler. Cal Brawler, I've been riding high on this guy for a fucking while, bro. He's literally middleweight fucking Charles Oliveira, bro. Good striker, good Muay Thai, good elbows, good fucking knees, good good jujitsu, bro. His jujitsu is good. The way he scrambles for his controls, it's just beautiful. I love watching that like that. But against a guy like Paul Craig, moving down from lightweight, you know, I think he's coming off of a win or a loss from um something Allen. Who not Allen? Who am I thinking about? Give me a moment. Let me look at Tapology for a quick second for Paul Craig. Yeah, he's coming off of a loss to Brendan Allen. That's what I was thinking about. Brendan Allen doesn't have an amazing jiu-jitsu. I think Cal Berhalo's jiu-jitsu is better than Brendan Allen. I think genuinely that Paul Craig's striking is going to be the thing that really fucks him up in this fight. I think Paul Craig's jiu-jitsu is good enough to just submit anybody if they make a mistake. And Kyle Berhalo, he does, sometimes he fights well, sometimes he will leave himself open. So there's a possibility of him getting that takedown, but I think his lack of striking is going to allow Cal Berhalo to bully him on the feet. Really, I think Paul Craig's going to notice this by like round two, and I think he's going to be trying to like time Cal Berhalo on his strikes and come in and go for an underhook. But I think Cal Berhalo is too good. I think his grappling defense is going to be his takedown defense is going to be too high, and I don't think Paul Craig's going to be able to get him out of there. The only way I see Paul Craig even at like having a chance of beating him is that if he ties him up in the clinch, which I don't think he will, takes him down and takes his back and gets that rear naked. But Calvarado, his elbows too good, his knees too good, man. He's a real deal like good. He has good Muay Thai fundamentals, man. I really fucking like the way he strikes and the way he grapples. He's a fucking delicate like he's amazing to watch, man. No glaze, bro. Another creative another creative striker from Brazil, Michael Pereira versus Ihor Potieria. I like Ihor Potieria coming down from lightweight, not like light heavyweight. He was kind of undersized for the division, but my main point in saying is that he's already faced guys with power. He's already faced people who can knock him out, like Michael Pereira, and I think that's going to help him in this fight. But I don't think a guy who's getting knocked out by Nicolau Nigarolu is going to be the type of guy to be able to put up a good fight against Michael Pereira. I think Michael Pereira is 10 times the striker that Nicolau is. And I think it's really going to show in this fight. I think Iho is going to be game. I think he's going to be able to stay in this fight just based off of his physical attributes. He does have really good conditioning. He can take a punch very well. He has a very good chin, but guys like Michael Pereira, who's coming from a quick turnaround, which is good. I love seeing quick turnarounds. He fought literally a month ago. He's already fighting again. I think he's going to be too much. I think he's going to be dancing around him. I think Ehar is going to kind of be like plodding his way around, trying to catch him with his really simple footwork. And I think Michael Perez, he's going to make it goofy, man. He's going to make it look weird, and I think he's going to just be able to just bully him. I think the first round's really going to be just. I think Ehar is going to be coming out there with just solid boxing fundamentals, and I think Michael Perez is going to be just ranging it in, see how the fight's going, see how he throws, see how he strikes. And then by round two, I think Michael Pereira is really just going to start with that heavy capoeira game and just start beating him up with these creative strikes. Like every single time Ero misses a strike, I feel like Michael Pereira is going to be catching him with leg kicks or trying to get some spinning like back kicks or like tornado kicks. I think he's just going to be goofy with it, and I think that goofiness is going to work against a guy like Ihar Peteria. I say late third round, third round, no, second round KO for Michael Pereira. I think by the second round, he's already going to be dialed in and capable of beating Ihar Peteria. Anthony Smith versus Vitor Pentero. Oh, fuck, I can't pronounce shit. Um, I'm going Vitor. I think Anthony Smith. As unfortunate as it is, I think Anthony Smith's kind of good. He's not amazing, but he's okay at everything. He has good wrestling. Not good. He has okay wrestling. He has okay striking, and he has okay jujitsu. I think a guy like Vitor or any person who has really good attributes in one way, a knockout. I'm not specialist, but a guy who has knockout power like Vitor, I think it's going to be a really big problem for Anthony Smith. I think he's going to really find an issue in trying to get past this guy. I think that Vitor's every strike he's going to throw is going to be coming with power, and I don't think Anthony Smith's going to be able to handle that. You're over there. Anthony Smith is, I don't like. He's kind of getting up there in age. He's missing weight for backups. I don't like that. He's over there with Johnny Walker talking about you're attacking my family. You're attacking my family. Like I don't like hearing that. Not, even if it was just to hype himself up, I don't like hearing that, bro. I think a dangerous striker, more dangerous striker than Johnny Walker and Vichar. I think he's going to be able to finish Anthony Smith. I think it's gonna be bad, man. I think this is gonna be like I think Vitor is gonna like slump Smith, and afterwards people are gonna be like, man, he had a good run. I think it's time for him to hang that up. Or Anthony Smith could fucking fraud check Vitor like he did Ryan Spann, and everybody just doesn't say shit about it. That would be so fucking funny. But I say Vitor by third round KO. Moving on the fight card. Jonathan Martinez versus Jose Aldo. This fight stumped me for quite some time. I was over here rewatching clips, rewatching tape, and this fight really comes down to one fucking thing. Does Jose Aldo come back in form? That's it. That's all this fight comes down to. If Jose Aldo comes back, if he rewinds the clock to let's say 34, he fucking smokes Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez's entire games relies on basic boxing and having a leg kick. He's a boxer who learned that leg kicks are good. His like Jonathan Martinez, he does have power. He has good boxing fundamentals, but it hinges on his leg kicks, man. And you're fighting a guy in Jose Aldo who's first off, I've seen Jose Aldo's boxing fights, and I've watched his clips beforehand. I think Jose Aldo has better hands than just Jonathan Martinez, and I think without the low kick, Jonathan Martinez, he doesn't get this far. I don't think if you took away Jonathan Martinez's low kick earlier in his career, he doesn't make it to the top 15. Seriously, and I think Jose Aldo is going to show him that. I think Jonathan Martinez is going to try to throw those heavy leg kicks. And I think Jose Aldo, I know he took 2 years off of MMA. He retired. Said he's going to retire from MMA after the Marab loss, but he came back. Um, he did some boxing in between. I think that's going to be also help him this fight. But if he come like you, for a guy like Jose Aldo, who's been fighting for such a long fucking time, he was like champion for like 7 years continuously. I don't think you're gonna forget how to check or how to move out of the way of a leg kick overnight. I think that's ingrained to him. I think that no matter what happens, no matter whatever he decides to do afterwards, I think he's always gonna have the ability to just always see those leg kicks coming and dodge and check them when they come. I think Jonathan Martinez. I don't think he's gonna be able to adjust to Jose Aldo. I really don't. I know Jose Aldo's old. I know his chin's kind of been cracked a few times, but I really do say Jose Aldo beating Jonathan Martinez. Moving on to the fight, you know, Alexander Pantoja versus bedtime himself, fucking Steve Sweet Dreams Erceg, bro. I'm going Alexander Pantoja. I don't know what the fuck Guru and Bedtime are smoking for real, but I watched all of Steve Erceg's fights, and just like Mitabek, Steve Erceg should be 13 to 0, 0. He should have not lost that fight at I forgot it was, I think it was Eternals MMA or whatever. He should have not lost that fight. He had the control time in like the second or third round. He should be undefeated at this point, but he isn't. I think Steve Erceg, he's a very good boxer. He does have power. He has some pop in his shot, but he's mainly a grappler. And I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, he's going to be able to keep it simple, keep his good. He's going to be able to keep it simple with Alexander Pantoja on the feet." Which sometimes Alexander Pantoja leaves himself open, and Steve Erceg's going to be just have those nice combos and knock him out. No, I don't see that happening, bro. I think Alexander Pantoja, he's going to keep it heavy. I think he's going to do what he does in every fight, which is be wild, throw hooks, throw power. And when Steve Erceg does show off his grappling, I don't think he's ever faced anybody who has grappling as good as Pantoja. I don't for real. I think Brandon Morero has better grappling than two Steve Ercegs. That's how I feel for real. You know, in his last fight, he did get wobbled. Steve Erceg. Same goes. I just when you have the power in the jiu-jitsu of Alexander Pantoja, I don't think Steve Erceg's going to last very long in there with him. I think for real what this fight is Steve Alexander Pantoja, he wanted to defend in Brazil, his home, and you know, they had Steve Erceg willing to accept on like a couple weeks notice. I think that's really the matter of this fight. No disrespect to Steve Erceg, I like him. I think him coming up in the press conference wearing Alexander Pantoja's rival like football team jersey is fucking funny. I think it's really fucking funny. I think him leaning into the bedtime memes are really funny. I like that. More fighters should be like that. More fighters should be in the community more often like that. But I really don't see him beating Pantoja. I think Pantoja, as wild as his striking is, I think he's gonna be able to survive. He does have a fucking iron chin for real, and really good jujitsu. Really good jujitsu, man. The way he avoids strikes and can lock people up, even when they have top position on him, it's really fucking good. And I don't think a guy like Steve Erceg is gonna be able to get his game off on Pantoja, especially on the ground. But on the feet, it can go anywhere. It really comes down to whether or not Steve Erceg can get those combinations on Alexander Pantoja, and if he can knock him out. This also goes on to say we've never seen Steve Erceg go 25 minutes. We've seen Alexander Pantoja go 25 minutes. He doesn't do amazingly, but I think he's proven he can do it. But Steve Erceg's an unknown. We haven't seen him versus the level of competition Alexander Pantoja has. Like I don't know how Steve Erceg would handle a Brandon Moreno. I don't know how he would handle Brandon Morale. I don't know. I don't know how he would handle a Figueredo. I don't know how he handled that, and I think I can trust in Alexander Pantoja. I can trust in his grappling, in his conditioning, in his real grit to stay in the fight over Steve Erceg. Not to say I wouldn't hate that if Bad Time makes it to the belt, bro. That'd be a credit for you. It's YouTube MMAers, but I don't see it happening, man. I see Alexander Pantoja. I think he's going to bring him to a decision. I think he's going to get lit up for the first round or two, and then start bringing it back in the third. And by the fourth and fifth, I think Steve Erceg's going to be kind of wilting, and I think Alexander Pantoja, I think he's just going to be able to stay in there in that fight and just keep on keeping on and getting the better strikes on Steve Erceg. Even if he's catching him clean, I don't think it's going to be enough to put out a fucking iron chin Alexander Pantoja, and I think he's just going to bring him to those 4 or 5 rounds, and I think Alexander Pantoja is just going to grind him out there and get the decision win. That's all. That's my opinion for UFC 300, not three, UFC 301. Pantoja versus Erceg. I think Erceg's gonna lose. I think Jose Aldo's gonna come back in form and beat the one-dimensional Jonathan Martinez. Watch him get fucking chinned in the first round. I'll cry. Overall, people saying this is slightly better than a fight night. No, it's not, man. Just I know it doesn't have great name value, but a lot of these fights are fucking good. Steve Erceg, Alexander Pantoja, they're both very good. Jonathan Martinez versus the King of Rio, Jose Aldo. I'm not sure how you can't be hyped for that. Anthony Smith versus a knockout artist and Vitor Pereira. Michael Ferrer, very crafty striker versus Ihar Pereira. Paul Craig versus KL Bralo, one of the best fucking prospects in middleweight. KL Bralo versus a proven jiu-jitsu artist. Jack Shore versus Joanna Sambrito. Joanna Sambrito has power and great fucking grappling, man. Elvis Brenner versus Mitabek Orbital. That's probably gonna be the fight of the night. For real, I think Mitabek and Elvis are gonna bring it. I think Elvis is always game. I think he's always gonna be pushing forward, always looking to get that jiu-jitsu off. And I think Mitabek's just gonna be able to stay composed and bring it to a fun, exciting fight. Gene Silva versus William Gomez. That could be the stinker of the night. It could happen. I'm gonna be serious with you. I can see William Gomez just bringing it down just to like fucking I say sub not double digits, like low double digits, like rounds. That's how I can see this fight going. But hopefully he gets that head kick and gets KOs Gene Silva. But to cut close, I think he's a powerful striker. I think he's gonna be able to bring it to Joaquim Silva, Barrios Rufi. I think he's a good counter striker. I think he's gonna be able to implement his game well against Jamie Malarkey. Who gives a fuck about these female fights? Ismail Bonfirm, he's 100% gonna KO Vince Perella in the first round. If he doesn't, it's over, buddy. Fraud checked.